Nestled beside the Mississippi River, Vicksburg was one of the most important Southern cities in the war. Because of its location, the Battle of Vicksburg remains one of the most impactful battles of the Civil War. The campaign against Vicksburg was motivated by the desire to control the Mississippi River and obtain an insurance against Southern attempts to suppress Northern economic activity on the river. Additional benefits of Union victory include splitting the Confederate Army and reducing their ability to quickly transport resources. The campaign began on December 26, 1862, with the Battle of Chickasaw Bayou, which ended in a Confederate victory. In January of 1863, General Ulysses S. Grant became head of the Union forces and eventually began a 6-week siege known as the Battle of Vicksburg.
On April 16, 1863, Rear Admiral David Dixon Porter prepared to run by the Vicksburg batteries. Porter's naval fleet successfully fought through Confederate forces, losing only one transport, heading downriver to the rendezvous accompanied by Grant on the Louisiana shore south of Vicksburg. Shortly after, Grant lands at Bruinsburg and wins the Battle of Port Gibson, allowing his army to start moving inland. The Union won another decisive victory at the Battle of Raymond, prevailing through strength and numbers, enabling Grant to now set his focus on Jackson. On May 14, 1863, Confederate General Joseph E. Johnston, left in charge of defending Jackson, was late to adequately defend the city. To his surprise, Union forces had already taken control. Not wanting to lose any troops, Grant ordered the city's supplies to be destroyed. "Take that, General Johnson, because only the early bird gets the worm." With the capital now under control, Grant was able to confidently head westward towards the river. Now, moving on, the Battle of Champion Hill happens to be the most decisive battle of the Vicksburg campaign. While the Confederacy considerably pushed back the Union in the earlier stages of the war, the Union eventually outnumbered and overpowered them.
Cracks in the Confederate defenses became even more apparent with the Battle of Big Black River Bridge. General Pemberton expected fellow Confederate General Loring to cross the river, so he placed troops to defend it. Loring was actually heading to Jackson instead. This one communication gave the Union a chance to attack the Confederate defenders, defeat them, and solidify their path to Vicksburg. And finally, we reached the final battle of the campaign, the Siege of Vicksburg. Grant surrounded the city, cut off supply lines, and fired upon Vicksburg continuously. Both armies were left with little to no supplies. General William T. Sherman led the first assault on Vicksburg at Stockade Redan. The editor of Vicksburg's newspaper, Daily Citizen, wrote that General Grant wished to celebrate the 4th of July, quote, dining in Vicksburg, end quote, and drink and dine in Vicksburg he did. On July 4, 1863, General Pemberton would surrender to the Union general. With Union victories at Vicksburg and Port Hudson 5 days later, the Union solidified their control over the Mississippi River, signifying a turning point for the Union during the Civil War.